Hello everybody, my name is Bill. Welcome back to the NCAA Football 2007 Dynasty Mode Series. We are continuing the off-season evaluations. I hope you're ready for some action this week as we are talking about the MAC. We're starting off with the East and then next time we're going to the West. But as you can see, the East is being represented by Bowling Green, Miami University, I like to call Miami of Ohio. I mean, it's the same thing either way. It's same team. It's just I prefer Miami of Ohio over Miami University because I think it saves syllables. Let's see, Miami University, Miami of Ohio. Yeah, it saves me one syllable. Akron, Kent State, Buffalo, and Ohio. Bowling Green represented the east side of the conference, and they somehow managed to win the championship as well over Northern Illinois, which broke my heart because I liked seeing Northern Illinois doing so well. But hey, what can you do? What can you say? I only control one team, and I talked about them in the last episode. So let's go ahead and get on with me evaluating these 6 teams, which will knock me down after this to 54 teams left out of 119. Joy, and you can see why I decided to break this down into separate episodes instead of doing it all at once. So we will start off with the Bowling Green Falcons, who finished the year 10-4. Their best win came with a momentum-filled New Orleans Bowl against Nebraska 27-20 to increase their win streak to 8 in a row. Their worst loss came back at Week 6 at Ohio, 52-28. And some of their grades is they got a good passing game and they had the most sacks in the conference with 33. Their improvements though is they need better discipline, they need to lower their defensive yards, and they also need some better scoring. As you can see, they won the conference with allowing 20 more points than they forced. Which Miami's in the same boat, but they went 8-5. So everybody has their own little thing. My thoughts for the Falcons is the Falcons redeemed themselves over Northern Illinois, which is why they're the MAC champions. And they did it through rushing to the quarterback and forcing him into mistakes, while their quarterback was doing well, averaging 247.8 yards per game. They aren't really good at scoring somehow though, as they only average 25.3 points per game. For perspective, Iowa State, who finished 10th in scoring for the Big 12, had 27.4 points per game. They also had the most penalties, and the second most yards in the conference. They had 102 penalties for 794 yards. Wide receiver John Johnson, and yes, that is a name in this game, I didn't make that up. Computer generated that one. Kind of like how I remember with NCAA Football 11 one time, I let them randomly generate the names, and the punter for SMU was Allen Allen. Here we have John Johnson. Wide receiver John Johnson, in comparison, has a career total of 107 catches for 1,046 yards. He also had 7 touchdowns, but touchdowns aren't important when it comes to this comparison. They need to calm down on the penalties if they want to repeat next year, though. And now, to Miami of Ohio. I also put Miami of Ohio because it saves space as well. They went 8-5. Their best win came Week 10 at Buffalo, 42-20, and their worst loss came in Week 8 against Western Michigan, 58-14. Their grades, they have good passing and they are efficient in the red zone. Their improvements though is defense. The Red Hawks did well this year, coming second in the division. They hope to take that next big step and win the MAC, but teams like Bowling Green, Western Michigan, and Northern Illinois will all have something to say about that. They need to improve their defense, as allowing 392.7 yards per game isn't going to let you win ball games. Even with converting on 82% of their trips to the red zone, they need a better defense to get the job done. 239.6 yards per game through the air is one way to stay in, but Frank Michaels needs to create a better strategy, otherwise he may not be there next year. And it'd be a shame too, because 8-5. Granted, they lost their bowl game to they won their bowl game against Utah. They went into that game 7-5. And they came out victorious. But anyways, we will now go from the University of Miami of Ohio to the Akron Zips, with the logo of kangaroo, which I personally don't understand. But I'm not the one who named the team. They finished this season with a record of 6-7. Their best win coming in Week 5 against Western Michigan, 38-24. Their worst loss coming in Week 13 at Kent State, 43-32. One of their greats is that they have the GOAT of the NBA that I have seen coaching in this team, because I went through and named every single coach, and LeBron James is from Akron, so it made sense in my head. Granted, I think I made this when he was moving to Los Angeles, but hey, guys from Akron, there's a school in Akron, why not? And for comparison's sake with the other two teams scoring, their improvements is, though, they need an offense and a rushing defense. And LeBron James led his squad to a bowl game this year, which is impressive for a two-star school. Granted, they lost 38-21 to Oklahoma State, due Frank Shang at Oklahoma State. But hey, what can you do? What can you say? Big 12 school, they get the better recruits most of the time. And leave basically the 2- and 3-star players for schools like the MAC to scoop up. They had 28 points per game, which is a lot better than the conference champs. They need to do better on offense, as 328.7 yards per game isn't going to continue to fly for long. They passed the ball alright for an average of 238.6 yards per game, so they have some identity. If they can get defense down a little bit, they should make a run to represent the East in the conference championship game next year. Like I said, if they could just get better on defense, they might be able to succeed a bit better. Now we'll go from Akron to Kent State, who finished the year 5-7, with their best win coming against Akron, 43-32. Those two teams are in a rivalry called the Battle for the Wagon Wheel, which sounds like a rivalry I could get into, considering my favorite song of all time is by Darius Rucker, called Wagon Wheel. And yeah, I know there's another version by the old Crow Medicine show, but I like the Darius Rucker version more because I've always been a Darius Rucker fan, and I just enjoy that version a lot more than the other one. It's just personal preference, kind of like how we all have our own personal preferences in music. I like country, some of y'all may like rap, some of y'all may like pop, but hey, that's just you, you do you. That's what I always say, you do you. A lot of times it doesn't affect me because, let's face it, whatever decisions you make, I don't see affect me. Now, granted, they might affect me indirectly, but hey, you do you. One of their greats is their team nickname, Golden Flashes. That's a pretty neat nickname in my opinion. They're good on offense and they have a great rushing defense. Their improvements, though, they need to force turnovers and get better passing defense. The Golden Flashes did decent this year. Under the leadership of George Hardy, they went 5-7 and have slowly been going up, because I think first year I did this, they went 3-9, next year 4-8. They're improving. 172.1 rushing yards per game is a way to keep them in games, and also seems to be their strategy. They need more turnovers, though. A -10 turnover differential is what lost them a few games. If they can lessen the turnovers, then they'll be in a bowl game next year, in my personal opinion. I could be right, I could be wrong here. Hey, I've gotten predictions wrong before, I've gotten predictions right before. Hey, if you remember during the entire season, I got probably a good portion of them wrong more than I did right. But hey, who am I to say what I get right, what I get wrong? It's just a video game. I'm not going to get too upset over that. Although now we go from Kent State to the home of one of the best linebackers playing in the NFL today. Buffalo, and the guy I'm talking about is Khalil Mack. Buffalo finished the year 5-7. Their best win came against Akron in week 6, as I forgot to put best win in the script here. Let's just update that. There we go. When they won 42-37, and their worst loss came in week number 5, like literally the week before that game, against number 10 Northern Illinois, 34-10. Their great is defense, especially their passing defense, and they are very disciplined, which is why I put the Bowling Green thing on there, because I was going through looking for some things that Buffalo was good at, and they were very disciplined, and before and after Buffalo, I saw Bowling Green, saw that they weren't as disciplined. So hey, they do need to improve on offense and get a better rushing defense. Because, yeah, you can fly down passes, get interceptions all you like, but if a team's running the ball all over you, you gotta find some way to stop them. The Bulls are very disciplined under Drake Mack, as they had the least amount of penalties and yards in the conference. I guess with Drake Mack, it's all part of God's plan. That's a stupid joke right there. That one's not even in the script. That one I just thought on the fly. They had 71 penalties for 547 yards. As I see that I didn't put a space somewhere in this script as well. No, I don't want that. And there we go. Yeah, in retrospect, one of their receivers, Timmy Clemens, for his entire career, has only 85 catches for 1,039 yards. As long as they remain disciplined, they should be able to play some hard defense. They need to improve their offense, though, as they need to find some identity on that side of the ball. Well, I couldn't find a good stat to use for there, but they were like one of the worst teams on offense. But defensively, though, they were pretty good. But if they can get an identity, then they might be playing in a bowl game next year. And now, a team that I was kind of sad to see the fall of their grace, Ohio. Last year, they went 12-2. Losing, I think they lost to Northern Illinois in the conference championship game, and then they lost their bowl game. But still, a pretty impressive showing for Xavier Newton, going 12-2 with this team. But the next year, they just lost all momentum to go 4-8. With their best win being in week 6 against Bowling Green, 52-28, and the worst loss coming at Miami of Ohio, 49-7. Their greats is that they were great at rushing the ball, not allowing sacks, and they had a good defense. They just need to pass the ball more. The Ohio Bobcats were one of the teams to beat in the MAC last year. I was hoping that they'd keep the momentum going, but sadly they didn't. What killed them was not having a passing game. 168.9 yards per game isn't going to help you win much here. Although 151 yards per game on the ground is one way to stay in check, they also allowed the least amount of sacks in the conference at 18 sacks allowed. If the quarterback can connect with the receivers more, I expect the 12-win team from last year to show up again. Because, like I said, they were one of the teams to beat last year in the MAC, which that torch somehow got passed over to Northern Illinois, which we will talk about them next time. But you see, it kind of saddened me seeing how far from grace that Ohio fell. Going from being the team to represent the MAC last year in the East to being 4-8 and 2-6 in the conference, made one of the two worst teams in the conference. Down here was Eastern Michigan and Toledo, when last year they were up around here with Western Michigan, with Northern Illinois, with Miami of Ohio. Sometimes it's just sad to see those falls from grace, especially when it just happens just like that. And we see this happen in sports all the time, especially when a team suffers the championship hangover. One example is Kansas City, with this year. Last year, they won the Super Bowl after being down by double digits for the third time that playoff round, during the playoffs, and they come back and win 31-20. They're down by double digits against the Bucks this year, but they just couldn't do anything. And hopefully this isn't going to be a whole fall from grace from Kansas City. But enough about Super Bowls and all that. That'll be it for this week for the MAC. On the east side, like I said, we'll be going to the west, where they have their representative, the top 25, Northern Illinois, along with a team that's strong in Western Michigan, a team starting to be on the rise a bit in Central Michigan. This team that made a bowl game, even though they didn't deserve to, trust me, I will get to it a bit more detail in the next episode. And two teams that have been kind of the bottom feeders of this conference, in all honesty. But until then, I will see you all next time.